So recently I was on the phone with Dr. McCullough. Yeah, that's right. He contacted me and said, Harley, we need to talk about this high carb thing. I want to understand more where you're coming from. I thought that's pretty cool that McCullough contacted me with the intention of learning more. That's pretty cool. It's pretty genuine, pretty legit. And I've been a harsh critic of McCullough in the past. I said he had Botox. He put his face next to the camera. McCullough doesn't have Botox, so he called me out on that one. But so I had a bit of a discussion that the line wasn't that good, the Skype connection wasn't that good, so hopefully I'll do a few videos like this where I can answer some of the questions we're talking about. And McCullough's like, Harley, I'm not too sure. Like, I talk to a lot of people. They say carbs make you fat. Carbs raise your insulin. Blah blah blah. And it's so, well, okay, I understand where Joe's coming from. And Joe sent me a link of the Rosedale diet. And Rosedale diet is Ron Rosedale, and his premise is that carbs cause obesity because when you have carbohydrates, it raises your insulin levels. Insulin stores everything you eat as fat. So the secret is get rid of all carbohydrates and you won't have any fat problems. Look how skinny I look, man. I eat more carbs than anybody I know. And anyone who eats as much carbs as me is as skinny as me. Anyway, so the reality is, where do we start? So I looked at the Rosedale diet, and basically it says you're allowed to have 50 to 75 grams of protein per day, which is roughly a 350 calorie steak. There's about 50, 60, 70 grams of protein in that. So, and that's it. And then the rest of the calories have to come from fat, like olive oil. Olive oil is good. And you're allowed to have vegetables, as much greens as you want. So what's going to happen is the reason why people will lose weight on the Rosedale diet, 100% they will, I'll tell you why right now. They have that steak, 350 calories, that's your protein limit for the day. Then you can have your green vegetables. How many greens are people going to eat? Maybe 100 calories, a big salad, that's a lot of volume, hard to eat, 100 calories, pour on some olive oil. People aren't going to drink olive oil to get calories. They're not going to do that because it's a bit weird. They're going to pour it on the salad, that adds maybe 200-300 calories. So we've got 350 calories from the meat, plus 100 calories from a salad, a lot of salad, that's 450 calories, plus 200-300 calories from the olive oil. So we've got 650, 750 calories. Let's say 800 calories a day is what the average Rosedale dieter will eat. They're going to lose a shitload of weight. And people are going to go, oh, that's good, I want to lose some weight. No. By doing this high-fat, low-carb thing, you're starving your body, and you're going to set yourself up for metabolic damage, and you're just going to be this yo-yo diet. That's what people do. They go from paleo to Atkins to Rosedale to South. They keep jumping around these low-carb diets, and just metabolically damage. Insulin levels are going up, and then everything they eat just becomes weight. That's how you become obese. Starve yourself in these high-fat diets, then just binge out and eat whatever, eat more animal products, and then you'll pop right out. So we have to treat the cause versus address the symptom. Now, the premise out there is that carbohydrates raise insulin levels, which is true, but they will not raise it enough unless you have the animal protein in there, animal fat. This is why you will never, ever see a professional vegan bodybuilder. Ever. You'll see vegan fitness models and vegan kickboxers and vegan UFC fighters, but you won't see a vegan sumo wrestler, you won't see a vegan bodybuilder. Because to have that much mass on your physique, you need to have sky-high insulin levels. That's why a lot of professional bodybuilders actually inject insulin. They're very fucking dangerous. They don't have diabetes, but they're injecting insulin so they boost their insulin levels to create more mass. That's why the whey protein is so popular. You pop whey protein in your body, your insulin levels spike the fuck up, your insulin growth factor 1, you just weigh. You weigh more, pun intended, you weigh more. So the whey to get heavier is to increase the whey content of the food. The animal protein, the animal fat, spike the fuck out of insulin, mass gaining. I was in the supermarket today, and I like to do this. I troll around, and I see these two obese mother with a overweight daughter who will be obese soon because she's eating like a mum, and nice people, I'm sure, just critiquing the physique. So I'm standing there, I'm pretending to look at the cereals as well, and I just hear the conversation as I'm walking in the aisle. Oh, I don't know about the cereal, like what's the sugar content and stuff like that. Like, oh, okay, I've got to stop and do a YouTube video at this one. So they're talking about the cereals, and the lady's like, oh, I'm not sure which one to get, blah, blah, blah. It took them like about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to choose what cereal. And eventually they got a little small packet of muesli. And then they're walking down and walking behind them, pretend I'm not stalking them. And then they come to the chocolate section, and they just grab, Mum goes, that one, boom, she knew straight away what to get. The cereal, she hasn't eaten much cereal. She didn't know what to get. She's like, I don't know what to I said, sure. The chocolate, bam, give me that now. I know what the fuck I want. That big chocolate, that big block. Chocolate, 50% calories coming from fat. If you want to have 50% of your body weight from fat, eat a high-fat diet. Cereal, 5% calories coming from fat roughly. If you want a low body fat, eat a cereal-based diet, high-carb diet. Fruit-based diet, the best. Fruit's the best. And then they come back to the Chinese people. Some people out there say that Chinese people have the highest obesity and highest diabetes rates. I've been to China, man. I didn't see people shooting up insulin or that look like that. That's not true. The people in China who have diabetes are the people who can afford the meat. Because it just spikes your insulin. It creates all that fat. Anyone who's involved in diabetes, concerned about it, look up Dr. Neil Barnard. Here's his book just here. That's the book to read. This is peer-reviewed medical studies published. Dr. Barnard, fat is the issue in diabetes. So what happens in China? People get more money. Let's go to a better analogy. I'm trying to do a real quick video, this one. I've lived in Thailand a lot. I've lived in Thailand where no white people live, no Westerners live. I've lived in a village in Chanthaburi, Thailand, where people were like, are you lost? Why are you here? You're welcome here, but this is unusual that you're here. And I just want to live in Thailand, in a village, in a concrete house. It wasn't a house, it was just like a one room with a toilet, a drop toilet. The scorpions were free. They were that big, they'd crawl through the night, and me and Freely, we slept in this like mosquito net. I called it the scorpion net. Who cares about the mosquitoes? Got these massive, look like crabs walking across the floor. I loved it. I mean, we loved it, but that's where we lived in Thailand. Every morning you'd see people cooking up rice, eating rice, and I'd go for my bike rides, and I'm like, oh, these people are skinny. Oh, they're not training. They're not running marathons. They're just skinny because they're eating rice as their staple. And that when they eat a bit of fish, it's this little... the animal product used in Thailand from the skinny people is used as a condiment versus a meal. We flip that around the West, you have the big steak, and you have a little bit of potato on the side. But that steak covers up the whole plate, and a little bit of vegetables as a token gesture, a little bit of mashed potato, all right? That's what's happening. If you want to beef up, you need to eat the beef. Talk to the bodybuilders, talk to some wrestler. They go, fuck that vegan diet, fuck that fruitarian diet. I'll get too skinny. I'll get too skinny. I want to be 300 pounds. I don't want to look like a 170 pounds kickboxer. I want to be massive. I want to be a mutant. You can't do that in a vegan diet because your insulin level is going to be too low. So you need to eat the meat, boost your insulin, take insulin on top of that. Insulin is what's going to cause the weight gain, the mass gain. If you want to be heavy, you've got to have high insulin levels. I've checked my hemoglobin A1C, always under 5.5 in the low end, in the healthy natural end. Despite eating as much fruit as I want, as much carbohydrates as I want, I'm pouring pound bags of organic sugar into my fruit smoothies to get enough sugar these days. Pouring it in. So people say, well, you're like an elite athlete. I'm not a fucking elite athlete. Like, I'm fit, but I'm not an elite athlete all year long, maybe in summertime, but the rest of the year I'm just like prancing around. But then people say, well, Harley, you're an elite athlete. You're very fit, and it's true, I'm very fit, but I know people that literally run more than me and cycle more than me in a year, and they're still fat because they eat so much fat and meat. They're like, oh, Harley, you know, you're like, I know you train less than me and you fucking look like a Tour de France rider. You got the same body mass index as Bradley Wiggins and Contador, and you're looking like you're doing 1,000k a week when you're doing 100k a week over winter. But I couldn't eat a vegan diet, man, because of my family and all that. And that's cool. But that's the reality. There's people out there who train more than me, but they're fat, they're heavy. I did a race today, just passing people. They're doing the training. You can tell they've got a tan. I'm pale white in winter. They've got a tan, but they're still fat. Why is that? Because they don't eat the high-carb diet. You can tell because their performance is sucking. So you go to Kenya, best athletes in the world, high-carb diet. Fastest runners in the world, Johan Blake, Usain Bolt, high-carb diet. High-carb diet. Johan Blake eats up to 30 bananas a day. He said in a blog recently. Usain Bolt, his dad's going, oh, the secret is the plantain and the yam, the Jamaican yams. You know, carbohydrate is key, ATP. Even McCullough, gun runner, on a high-carb diet. If your diet makes you run slower, if you're on drugs or whatever, if you're running slower than you would otherwise, it's not healthy. You go to Rosedale diet or high-fat diet, your performance will be... There is not a single athlete performing well in the world, performing better than they would on a high-fat diet? There's not. I could eat a high-fat diet and perform okay, but put me on a high-carb will perform better. Any athlete, any human was going to perform better on high carbs, if that makes sense. Horses need carbs. They're like humans as well. Plant eaters by design. But if you turned up to a massive horse race in Hong Kong or Australia or whatever and said, all right, we're going to have a special diet for the horses, we just feed them meat. We're going to feed the horses meat. The trainers are going to, are you fucking crazy? The horse won't be able to run. It'll be all constipated and shit. If we do a diet and our performance is less than it normally was, if we're on drugs or whatever, you know what I mean? They have all the same variables, and the only thing you change is eat more carbs or drop your carbs right out. Performance is going to go down. Even if you're on EPO and shit, like, your performance is going to drop if you don't have enough glycogen. If you're, like people say, but okay, Harley, we understand that, but it's an athlete diet. No. What about Thailand? What about China? What about Africa? These people are not starving there's starvation in Rwanda and stuff like that, but I'm talking about people who have enough money to feed themselves. They're not skinny because they're starving. People go, in China they're starving, in Thailand they're starving. I've been there, they're not starving. They've got enough money to eat all the corn and rice they want. They have. But the reason why they're skinny and slim, regardless of their fitness level, it's the same as the Fruitarian community. Everyone's fucking skinny long term, man. 100%. Because the food is lower in calories than the meat and shit. Try and eat 3,000 calories in a meal from fruit. And then try and do 3,000 calories from animal products, meat and shit. Big Macs, whatever. Easy. I used to go to Pizza Hut and eat 5,000 calories. You go to a vegan pizza kitchen and eat a low-fat vegan pizza, you're going to be too full before you smash out at 5,000 calories. So yes, calorie restriction is part of it, but it's not like it's incidental calorie restriction in that the plant foods have less calories than the animal products. But then again, to be more confusing, a calorie is not a calorie. Okay, what do I mean by that? If I eat 3,500 calories a day from fruit, I'm not going to look, feel, perform the same as if I eat 3,500 calories a day from animal products, am I? My insulin level is going to go up. I'm going to store a lot of fat, a lot of weight, a lot of fluid retention. My kidneys are going to pack up, increase the chance of heart disease and stuff like that. Calorie is not a calorie. Calorie is not a calorie. They're similar, but they're not in that. Does that make sense? Go and find someone who eats 3,000 calories a day from fruit for 10 years or 5 years. Go and find someone who eats 3,500 calories a day from donuts, fried, mostly fat in the donut calories, meat, steak, dairy, eggs, fish, blah, 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 blah. They will not look the same. Get twins and do that. They're not going to be the same. Don't lock them in a cell for 5 years. No exercise. 3,500 calories from fruit and rice, 3,500 calories from animal products. No exercise. Nothing. Lock them in, tie them down, strap them in. Obviously, we can't do that, but in your head, you've got to know, fuck, the twin who's eating the fruit and the carbs is going to be skinny as fuck. And the person who's eating the fat, they're going to be fat as fuck. The fat you eat is the fat you wear unless you're living on 800 calories a day, the Rosdale diet. Yes, you'll lean up, but you'll get metabolic damage. You'll be binging and purging later on. And I see it in the supermarket. I see it everywhere I go. So that's my little rant and critique. I'll do more of these videos because Joe McCall asked some good questions. And we'll do more of these. And so thanks, Joe, for sending the questions out. And we'll talk more. Judge by results versus theory. I'm a cyclist. And cycling's all about being as skinny as you can get, but still have a lot of energy so you can pedal the bike. I choose high carb diet. I like to run. I like to have energy. I choose a high carb diet. And if I had to be a sumo wrestler, I'll be honest. You cannot be a sumo wrestler on a vegan diet, high carb, low fat vegan diet. You cannot. You cannot be a 300-pound bodybuilder on a high carb, low fat vegan diet. And if we go to India, if we go to China, 1,000%, the people shooting up insulin from diabetes, 1,000%, they're eating over 10% of daily calories coming from fat. 1,000%. There's no... You're not going to go to China, right, and see someone, a little Buddhist monk, just walking around, just doing whatever in the garden, eating their rice and eating their vegetables, a bit of fruit, a full-on vegan Buddhist, You're not going to see them eat their rice and then shoot up some insulin afterwards. All right, I'm going to shoot up the insulin now. They're not going to have. You're going to go to China. You're going to see some stockbroker who's like, 250 pounds and just like sweating, and he's just like, oh, give me steak, all deep fried pork. You're not going to. They're going to be shooting up the insulin. Think about it. The skinny people in Asia are living on rice, and the fat people in Asia are living on fat. They can afford the deep fried pork and all that shit. That's how it is. Go to India, and the skinny people are living on rice and corn and bananas, and the fat people are going, fuck that peasant food. Give me the cream, give me the extra ghee, the organic shit, give me the meat and all that stuff. Because that's what the Western eats, and the West is the best. And fuck all this dal and rice and stuff like that. That's like peasant food. That's $1 a kilo. That's just like, for your poor people, I want the rich stuff. Rich food, rich people, makes us fat. We can go back to the kings and queens back in the day. What did they eat? They didn't want to eat the peasant food. That's how you separate your classes. Peasant food for the peasants. Eat your rice and corn and fruit. That's all your stuff. We have the meat. We can afford that, That's how it is. But today you can cast a crew from Alexander the Great, whatever, or King Edward V, just by walking down the street. I'll pick you, because everyone looks fat, because they're eating like kings and queens in terms of food choices versus caloric content. 100%. I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself, but look at all the Fruitarians and the McDougall crew, Longterm, everyone sucks right up. That's bottom line. Carbs. Carbs are key to weight loss and health. High carb diet, vegan, low fat, 100%. No question. No question. It's done. It's done. It's done.